Got a question for you. Are you up for having a wild and whirly weekend? Then you've got to get to the big Waves and Wings air show going on all weekend in Daytona Beach, where Local 6's Candace Coleman and Sky 6 had a close encounter of a wild
We're going to really have some fun. I mean, I'm going to be able to tumble through the sky in an arc in front of you.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see why they call Sean Tucker the Space Cowboy.
So let me show you a couple of my fun tricks I love to do. Here we go.
Oh my God! And a world-class all his own, get this. He's the 1998, 1999, 2000, and 2001 CASPA Challenge champion, which is kind of like winning the Academy Award of Aerobatics, hello, 4 times in a row.
Let me show you my favorite maneuver of all time. Here we go. It's called the Candace Catapult. Here we go.
Oh my God. Insane in the membrane.
And the really wild thing, he used to have a fear of flying.
So I took an aerobatic course to conquer that fear. And I guess when you're so afraid of something, then when you conquer that fear, you become so in love with it.
18,000 flight hours later, Sean's lucky 13-minute sky dance will make your head spin. His too.
And 12 positive G's is like getting hit in the chest with a sledgehammer. It's awful. I hate it.
No wonder the Blue Angels, Thunderbirds, and Snowbirds made Sean an honorary wingman. And that's why you need to put your eyes to the skies and eagle eye on the Oracle this weekend, or else, trust me, you gonna be seeing red.
I love you guys.
Candace Coleman, Local 6.
Thanks for showing the love. News stories next at 6.
Let's go now to breaking news. There is a whale rescue underway in Ponce Inlet. Let's get right to the pictures from Sky 6 and Chief Photographer Chris Kennedy. Chris, what's going on?
Lisa, we're about a mile north of Ponce Inlet. A large group of people gathered here. 2 whales on the beach here. Looks like a larger one, probably a mother whale, and then a small baby whale next to them. People working feverishly to keep them wet and comfortable. Obviously, they're too far from the water to get them back in. We have had unconfirmed reports that some kind of a whale rescue, probably from SeaWorld, is going to be on its way out here to perform a rescue. And that's the scene from Sky 6. Chief Photographer Chris Kennedy reporting.
Okay, very dramatic scene unfolding there, and we'll keep on top of it.
All right.
Chris Kennedy, our Chief Photographer, is in Sky 6. He's been watching this all unfold. Chris, what's going on?
Well, you pretty much have the story. They just got the big whale back out. You see it thrashing around.
Right, there it is.
It is in shallow water, so it's still hard for it to swim. The baby whale did the same thing, went out probably 100 yards off the beach, turned around and came right back in, and it looks like the bigger whale here is doing exactly
do the same,
coming back in.
Yeah, Chris, we could see him go out, and now he's coming back in. And it's hard to tell, and I'm sure they don't know either if this is, a mother and baby whale. I think they're going to have a tough time getting these whales to go back on their own because the water is so shallow. And
yeah, you can see even the baby's having problems in this water.
Yeah, it's almost not enough to swim in. So all they're going to do is just flounder around and then eventually come back to shore.
I'm going to go back over to the mother over here because everybody's going back out there.
And it's tough because, look, the whale is on its side now, struggling. There's no way that whale can even swim, even if it wanted to get back out in the water on its side. The water's too shallow.
I'm sure
they're going to need a lot more help to get that whale in a little bit deeper water because they're just getting the whale out enough so that the water's covering them, but they need more water. They need to go out deeper, and I don't think these folks here are really equipped to do so because they're just going to have to walk that whale out. So once they get up, the water's waist deep, they're going to have to.
Out here as well, so it's going to be really hard. They'd have to walk them out quite a ways before they would be able to swim. But look at the mass of people that are down here just working feverishly to try to get them. They are getting a little closer together now. There's the baby. Baby's kind of swimming south down the shoreline a little bit. And the mother's right there, so they are getting them back together. I think probably they're thinking one of the tricks they may try is if they can keep the baby with the mother and get the mother pointed back out to sea, then both of them can get back out because obviously the baby's going to follow and want to stay with the mother.
Chris, same thing with the baby. The baby kept rolling to its side, trying to swim, and it's just not deep enough. Look,
no, it's
right there.
He's getting a little bit of swimming going there, but the waves are pushing him into even shallower water, and they just can't seem to find their way out to deeper water and out to the sea.
Chris, this is David. Can you hear me?
Yes, David.
How long has this been going on, this rescue effort?
David, we got on scene, I guess, about probably about 30 minutes ago. And it took us 20 minutes to get here. So I would say this has been going on for at least an hour, probably more. They were so far, they were at least 20 feet up out of the water on the shoreline. And with the tide going out, this has probably been going on for a couple of hours, I would imagine.
Hey, Chris, it's Lisa again. You've lived in Central Florida for many, many years. You know, we see this from time to time. What usually is the reason behind the whales beaching themselves like this?
Well, the sad part is many times as I've covered a scene like this, and the people from SeaWorld come and usually rescue them, take them over to SeaWorld and try to nurse them back to health. It is usually health problems. With this type of situation, it would be like the mother having health problems, and they beach themselves, basically, you know, and pass away. And then when the babies follow the mothers, you know, they both end up on the beach.
Now, Chris, as the camera zooms in, it almost seems like it's difficult to tell, but sometimes we see the underbelly, and it looks like, is there blood or
there is like well, almost like road rashes if you were to fall on pavement. From the sand, because they're very heavy animals, and thrashing around in the sand. Sand is very coarse. It's almost like sandpaper, you know, scrapes on their bellies.
So it may just be an injury sustained when they beached themselves all the way and got up real dry.
Yep.
Live from Sky 6 and only on 6, you're looking at a drama being played out right now in the waters just off Ponce Inlet. 2 whales, an adult and a baby, we're assuming a mom and baby, which beached themselves earlier in the afternoon. We've been on this story for pretty much the entire 6 o'clock hour, or half hour, I should say, and just regular folks have jumped in trying to rescue these guys. We're following this live throughout our broadcast here.
You can see they are in deeper water right now. It's actually looking a little frightening for those people that have jumped in to try to help save these whales. The surf does look pretty heavy right now. Let's head over to Tom Sorrells, who's going to give us an input right now on what's it looking like out there, Tom?
David and Lauren, they say they want to talk to you about these whales.
It looks like the whales are swimming on their own now, which is good news. Let's just hope they don't turn around, make that U-turn as they had before, and head back toward the beach.
Yeah, it looks like they are. And as you're telling me, I'm not used to looking at the water. A light surf, which is probably a good thing right now. And you say that the tides are headed out, so hopefully these whales will follow them eventually and move away from the sand. It doesn't look like that's happening. This is obviously a sick whale.
Well, it's so difficult. They are coming back in. We're understanding from somebody who's got a wider perspective than what you see there. It is so tough because obviously they're huge animals. They have instinct, whatever that instinct is forcing them to do. And it could be that the baby is just following mom blindly because that's what infants do, especially in nature.
I think, Chris, if you could pull out a little wider so we can get a perspective as to where they are on the beach now. And there's hundreds of volunteers, I guess you could call them, trying to run to the rescue of this mother that's beached herself. Now, we have tried to contact SeaWorld. We are trying to get a confirmation from them as to whether we're actually going to see any kind of whale rescue team on the scene. We're not really sure how long that would take. We do understand this has probably been going on for more than an hour now, the whales going out and coming back into shore.
All right, our crews are going to stay on this story as this struggle continues. It's man not versus nature, but trying to help out nature here as this mama whale or this adult whale and this young whale continue to hit the beach, and we're trying to get these guys to push them back into the open water. We're going to stay on the scene tonight, and we'll have the latest for you right after basketball here on WKMG News.
And we will see you then, only on 6, this whale rescue. We'll see you after the game.
Air raid in Kissimmee, and it'll last all weekend, so look out, or better yet, look up. That's what fly guy Craig Eicher did today on company time, mind you, when he got to go for a ride with Canada's snowbirds. The Canadians are in town for the Florida State Airfair.
Well, here we are. We're out at the Kissimmee Airport, and I'm about ready to get on Snowbird number 4, the Canadian Snowbirds. This is going to be the ride of my life. First order of business flying a military jet is strapping on a lot of hardware. First a flotation vest, then a parachute. That goes with the ejection seat, by the way. The shoulder harnesses, lap belts, helmet, oxygen mask. I'm lashed in so tight I can barely move. All right, we're getting ready to go flying with the Canadian Snowbirds right now. And I'm in aircraft number 4. This is my pilot, Will McEwen. Will McEwen, thank you very much. And this oxygen mask is in my way, but we're going to have a great time. Our crew chief, Denny, tells us to have fun, eh? The Snowbirds are an elite collection of Canada's finest military pilots. 9 airplanes fly in tight formation. How tight, you ask? Well, the tail on that lead plane up there is 3 feet from our canopy.
We don't start off that close. We'll practice over the winter for 6 months and actually get closer and closer. So it's a concentration and a lot of practice.
Look up grace in the dictionary. There's just one word: snowbirds. 400 miles an hour over the top of a beautiful wingover. Captain McEwen jockeys the controls to stay close as we speed past the Kennedy Space Center and wave hello to the shuttle team. Throughout the flight, Snowbird 1 barks out commands, and like robots, the 8 other jets slide into different formations. But then we break formation, and it's time to have fun. So this is what it's like to be a snowbird. Pamela, I can't tell you how much fun that was, the dream of a lifetime. Tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm going to take my snowbird pilot for a biplane ride, something he'd never done before, and he can't wait. By the way, the Florida State Airfair runs tomorrow and Sunday from early in the morning till late in the afternoon. I promise you folks, it's going to be a good time.
Did you make you sick when it was flipping all around?
I love that stuff.
Really? Yeah. Oh my goodness, can't wait to see it at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
All right, everybody, grab your goggles. It's time for another ride into the wild blue yonder. On 6 News at 5, the Canadian Snowbirds took our Craig Eicher on a high-speed aerobatic flight he won't soon forget. And now, Craig takes his Snowbird pilot on a low-speed trip back in time. To set the scene, Craig's live in the cockpit of Sky 6. Hi, Craig.
This was the day that every pilot dreams of, taking a high-speed jet trip, and then of course being able to take that pilot for a ride as well. You know, this is the dream that I had, and then my pilot had a dream to fly in a biplane, and a couple of years ago my father built one. I took him for a ride today, and this is what it was like. Take a look.
Okay, left, right, left, I guess?
I've been flying my whole life, but the man who's getting in the front seat of my dad's biplane is light years ahead of me. Captain Will McEwen is a snowbird, Canada's top military pilot. He flies fast and very close to other airplanes. This is his first biplane ride. I asked Will if he'd like to try the controls. He's on them before I even know it.
Okay, look, folks, go ahead. What do you think about this? It's a little bit slower than your airplane, isn't it? It's a little slower, but you get a little more chance to sightsee, I think, than you do flying in those jets.
Will's saying he thinks that open cockpit flying makes for better sightseeing, so we take it down a bit, buzzing in low over the Osceola County farmland. Will's flying is perfect, even at this slow speed. Remember that aileron roll we did in the Snowbird? I thought Will might like one in a plane without a roof on top.
Oh, beautiful.
We traded plane rides, but Will gets to return to the air for a living. I wonder who's the luckiest today.
Probably the best job you could ever have.
The Snowbirds, look at the Snowbirds all lined up with precision on the tarmac down there. This is the Florida State Airfair at the Kissimmee Airport. It is on all day tomorrow and Sunday. I can tell you, you'll have a great time. And Pamela promises we're going to have great weather. Pamela?
That's right.
You fly for a living, too. Come on. All right, Pamela.
Wow, that's great stuff.
The B-17 was aerodynamically a very easy aircraft to fly.
Today, Dave Raup is just a passenger, but 63 years ago, he was the pilot. Raup flew the lead plane in the 8th Air Force 92nd Bomb Group. Raup recalls what it was like to fly under such dangerous conditions.
You would see a plane go down, and you didn't probably know who it was, and it could be somebody that slept next to you in the back at the base.
2 members of Raup's original crew joined him at the Venice airport. Flight engineer and Top Gunner Bernard DeVore recalls a frightening moment.
One mission I remember having counted 9 enemy aircraft coming at us, coming out of the sun. There were 9 abreast coming right out the sun after us.
Also known as flying fortresses, B-17s were famous for taking heavy fire and staying in the air. One mission cost this cruise plane 2 engines, but they still made it back to base.
We had 178 holes in an airplane, and we got back okay.
All engines were go as we prepared for our flight. The contrast between flying on a commercial jet and flying on a B-17 bomber was stark indeed. This B-17 has modern radio. During the 40s, however, navigator Herbert Weinberg says he did things a different way.
I would particularly make sure that I use the sun, the moon, and the stars, and got accurate reading.
Passengers on our flight flew for only 30 minutes, while Raup, DeVore, and Weinberg flew 30 missions together from June to December of 1944. They are grateful to be here today. In Venice, Lindsay Smith, SNN News 6.